What we were trying to do in this workshop was to build on existing connections between Stoicism and real-life practices, in psychotherapy especially, and see how we could take them further.
I'm finding it really interesting and quite exciting, actually. The chance to talk about Stoicism and therapy is a really great opportunity, because I think that the synergy between the two is really natural.
It's a fantastic opportunity to have people together talking about it from different disciplinary perspectives.
I'd like to thank you, Chris, actually, for that seminar, and I just wish it could have been longer, because I think I learned more about Marcus from that couple of hours than I had from all my hours of reading it on my own.
It's been an amazing opportunity. It's been worth coming all the way from New Zealand to sit with such a lively group of people.
Really interesting, yeah. I think it's great to gather these people together, and I've come away with ideas for possible collaborations and partnerships and projects that can be done together. So it's been great.
It's been such an opportunity to meet with so many other like-minded people who are quite passionate about incorporating Stoicism into CBT therapy, for example.
I think also what struck me is that I always had the impression that in academia it was very much a case of trying to understand the text, interpret the text, and the practical side wasn't something we were really quite so interested in. In a way, that impression has been contradicted by what's happened this weekend. I'm very glad to see this move towards actually saying, OK, well, what can the practical impact be in society?
First of all, we looked at the connections already made between Stoicism and especially CBT therapy and kind of guide to life philosophy books. And there was a very interesting discussion about that, where people already were. We had, of course, a number of experts in those fields.
I'm very interested in this area we touched on about does this very strong emphasis in Stoicism and CBT, and I think it's in the Buddhist tradition as well, of working on the inner life, and that it's our response to the things we can control, which are inner, that's what's really crucial.
Over the past 8 years, I've written quite a lot of courses to be used in industry with some of the blue chip organisations. Things like transition management and the science of happiness at work, I've called it, when people are struggling with a lot of changes in the workplace. But I think having a stoic attitude can be really helpful once people understand it in the context where they're struggling.
Living a life that is consistent with nature, that's a theme that comes up in every one of the different disciplines that I work with on a daily basis with my clients. And it's also a very powerful theme in terms of giving people a place to come from in life today, in the kind of environments that we live in, that takes them towards health, that takes them towards thriving and wellness.
It's interesting that the teaching of the Buddha has found a way of being freed from its religious and cultural trappings and presented in the West in the form of mindfulness-based therapy, mindfulness in schools, mindfulness in business. And so I think it's fascinating what you might be able to achieve in doing something of the same for the Stoics.
There are practical exercises that you can use to help educate the notion of Stoicism, and I think they would appeal to a lot of people. For example, the idea of keeping a diary and reflecting. That in itself is something quite simple that people can do. And it not only helps you process what's been going on in your busy day, but it gives you insight.
I think what was really impressive and exciting was the way people were coming in from very different perspectives, practical, psychotherapeutic and scholarly, were really working together in pressing the agenda forward. I thought that was really impressive, and it was a very good atmosphere and very constructive approach. I think we can build on that. The next session was quite a detailed discussion about next steps, about where we could take this further, what we could do, and we've agreed on a number of ways of taking that connection forward.
What we've come to this morning is almost kind of like an action plan of what the first stages might be, and that would include the setting up of the blog, which I think will be the most practical way to take it forward, more funding for more research projects, including the live like a Stoic idea, which I think if we did that on a small scale first, we could learn from that and then perhaps take it out to a broader, wider audience.
I think one of the things we talked about today was trying to create an evidence base for Stoicism and the importance of that. And I think the kind of work that you're looking to do with the Mood Disorders Centre here, those kind of interdisciplinary links and works together are brilliant. We need to follow in your lead in that.
I think the big opportunity that we have is something that the ancient Stoics didn't have, is obviously the internet, and we mentioned the idea maybe of a blog and using YouTube, and hopefully there'll be other people that will be attracted to the dialogue that we're having. Perhaps we can widen it a little bit, because I think other academics and other therapists, other professionals might stumble across the work we're doing if we put it online, as well as members of the public that might contribute to the process.
I think Stoicism was already there in the atmosphere. It's already something people are interested in, and now we just have to build on that and put it over more effectively and analyse it more carefully for modern purposes. What we've done over these 2 days is not just an academic exercise, it's an academic exercise with a very practical purpose, and I think we've identified a number of clear, practical steps that we can take to help put that into practice and embed it in the way of life for lots of people.